So you want to know how to tack up a pony? That's naughty. So you want to know how to tack up a pony? Well, today, me and my pony Bugsy are going to show you. Let's get into it. First things first, putting my saddle pad on with the D-ring, Velcro straps and girth loop at the front. Then onto my saddle. So I always start with my saddle. I know some people put the bridle on first, and that is absolutely fine, but I've always just started with the saddle. So always make sure your saddle has the pommel at the front and the cantle at the back, lifting up the saddle pad into the pommel to give your horse's back some nice clearance and keeping it comfy. And then I always just pull it forward and push it back so it's going along with their hair, and again just as comfy as possible, making sure that this front bit of the saddle is sat behind their shoulders. You can do that by feeling as I just did before we put our girth on. I always do my girth on the lowest hole first so that Bugsy can be nice and comfy while I finish tacking up, and then before I get on I will tighten it, or when I'm on I'll tighten it. There's 3 straps on the girth and always go for the outside 2. The middle one is for emergencies only. The next step in my tacking up routine is putting Bugsy's breastplate on. This isn't a necessity, however I love to have one on for both myself and the saddle when we're riding, and just that added security. When putting your breastplate on, it's so important to always make sure the buckles are facing away from the horse's skin so it doesn't irritate them when you go on a ride and the horse starts to sweat. This is also, very helpfully, how you can tell that the breastplate is the right way around. Breastplates come in a few different forms. Some of them you can clip onto the girth, some of them, like mine, you slide onto the girth, and same for the saddle. So on my particular breastplate it has clips which are so satisfying. So they do come in lots of different forms, shapes and sizes, but this is just how mine goes on. You might be able to also see that my saddle has 2 D-rings, which is really handy for having my breastplate on one and my saddle pad on the other. However, it's very common for a saddle to only have one, so if your saddle is like this, just put them both on the same one. Now it's time to move on to the bridle. So this is actually the task that most equestrians when starting out find most daunting, but I promise you, once you get the hang of it, it's really not that scary at all. I always start by securing Bugsy with his head collar off, ready for the bridle on, but he is still attached to his rope and he can't just wander off. Even if you trust your pony completely, this is a really good safety check to have just in case something spooks them. The best way to find out if your bridle is on the right way is, before it goes in their mouth, is to make sure that the bit is in almost a smiley face shape, a nice smooth curve going towards the mouth. You can see a little bit in these clips, and I was just checking it before putting the bridle on. When I'm certain it's going in the right way, I put my reins over the head and then gently offer the bit up to Bugsy, and when he's taken the bit, putting the headpiece over his ears. Make sure that your noseband is on the inside of your cheek pieces. This is going to give you the ability to turn left and right, which is very important. And the last things to do is to put your throat lash buckle up, making sure you can fit 4 fingers in so there's enough room for your horse's neck to flex, and then your noseband. I like to do my noseband quite loose as well because I just find this is what my ponies are most comfortable with. I know people do it differently, and if you have a different type of bridle then this may be different, but this is just what I do for my horses. Once your bridle is on securely, you can safely undo the head collar, and if your horse is going to be waiting for another few minutes, you need to get your boots or your hat on, then pop the head collar back on their head. Never ever put the lead rope on a horse's bit because it can really hurt them if something scares them and they move back. Always make sure they have the head collar on or someone is holding them. Before you get on, check your girth. Make sure it's tight enough because otherwise you may get on and your saddle may slip. And that, my friends, is never a fun experience and has happened to most equestrians. So learn from my mistakes and make sure your girth is tight enough. Make sure that you can still fit your hand into it. You don't want to suffocate your horse or anything like that. It's just secure enough that it's comfortable for you to, one, get on, and also for your horse and you to go on a nice ride.
Next, I'm showing you a little trick for if your horse is waiting, maybe someone's holding them and you just don't want the reins to get in their way just in case. Simply undo the throat lash, twist up your reins, put the throat lash through the reins and then do it back up, but don't forget, before you get on, make sure it's undone, otherwise you will have no control in your reins, which again is not a good thing. Just like that, your pony is tacked up and ready for you to get on. Now, some ponies have a fun little party trick when you're on the ground and you're doing the girth up, they will breathe out. So when you get on, it's always good, especially if you don't know the pony, just to check your girth again and doing it up if you need to.
And just like that, you're ready to go. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of me and, more importantly, Bugsy and my other horse, Reggie. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!